Good morning. Today we'll discuss London by William Blake. When we go through the poem, we find that London reveals William Blake's feelings toward the society in which he lived. To endure the 1800s, England was to know the most restrictive of worlds where laws were broken only on penalty of death and people followed a specific societal protocol. It is still universal and timeless, as every society has restrictions that it has placed on human lives. So the speaker in the poem makes it very clear that he believes the government to have too much control and society to be too stringent. When we read the poem London, we must know that it is one of the 10 most read or poems by William Blake. So, to speak about the poem London, it is a dark and quite dreary poem in which the speaker describes the difficulties of life in London through the structure of a walk. The speaker travels to the river Thames and looks around him, and he takes a note of the resigned faces of his fellow Londoners. The speaker also hears and feels the sorrow in the streets. This is the focus of the final 3 stanzas, and there is true pain in the hearts of men, women and children who are moving around and about whom the poet is talking. The most prominent of those suffering in London streets are the prostitutes. So, London, the poem ends with a fantastical image of a carriage that shuttles love and death together around the city. To talk about the theme of the poem, in London, Blake has engaged the theme of urban life, childhood and corruption. The latter relates to both childhood and the broader nature of life in the city. It's clear from the first lines of the poem that Blake has an almost negative view of what it's like to live and work in London. He's surrounded by misery, mostly due to the way the adult world destroys the innocence of childhood. These children are in distress throughout their lives, forced to deal with the sins of the adult world, which destroys the innocence of their childhood. These children are forced by their family members to indulge in such crimes and sins. So the speaker hears pain everywhere he goes in the city, something that he knows isn't necessary. The world could be a happier place and much freer, but because of the darker sides of humanity, it has made the city to be an impossible place to live. Now we'll go through the poem and analyze it. I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. So here in the first stanza, the speaker in a way is providing the setting and tone of the poem. The setting can of course be derived from the title, but the first stanza also reveals that the speaker is walking down the street. He says that he is wandering down each chartered street. The term wander here gives some insight into the speaker as well. He appears to be not quite sure of himself and a bit misguided. The use of the term chartered also suggests that the streets he walks are controlled and rigid, and he is not walking in a free or open area, but a confined, rigid, mapped out area. The speaker will expound upon this idea when we go through the poem. As he walks, he notices something about the faces of the people who are walking by. There seems to be the mark of weariness on their faces, and he describes their faces as having weakness and woe. This sets up the tone of the poem as melancholic. The gloom and the sadness seem to seep from the speaker's voice as he describes the passers-by. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. So, while the first stanza sets up the tone of the poem London, the second stanza gives us some insight into the speaker's sad or melancholic feelings towards the people he watches who are passing by him. The speaker reveals that from the cry of the newborn infant to the cry of a full grown man, he can hear manacles, mind forged manacles, which means that this gives an insight into the despairing view of mankind. Manacles means are shackles or chains or some kind of imprisonment in which a person is imprisoned or bound. The fact that these chains are mind forged means that they are metaphorical chains which are created by people's own ideas. The use of the word ban reveals that these chains or manacles are placed there by the society. A ban is a restriction given by the law. The speaker's use of words such as chartered, ban, manacles reveal his belief that society metaphorically imprisons people, and suddenly it becomes apparent that his thoughts, the pressures and the ideas of society are under scrutiny in these lines. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. So in this stanza we find that the speaker is digging even more deep into the reasons of why these feelings of humanity are like this. He implies that the shackles worn by the people and inflicted by the society have some disastrous results. He begins while talking about the chimney sweepers. The chimney sweeper was one of the poorest of society. His life expectancy was threatened because of the type of work that he was doing. He was consistently dirty and sick. So the lowest class were forced into this kind of work in order to provide for their families. Then the speaker criticizes the church, calling it blackening, which means that even the church appalls the chimney sweepers. He is not for them. Often the chimney sweepers were just children. They were small enough to fit down the chimney, so they were hired to do such menial jobs. These children were mainly or often orphaned children, and the church was responsible for them according to the poet. This explains why the poet ties the chimney sweepers with the blackening church. The speaker then turns our attention towards the hapless soldier, which means that he has already criticized the society and now he is pointing towards the misfortunes of the poor and even the hypocrisy of the church, which doing this he is in a way criticizing the government and suggesting that the soldiers are the poor victims of a corrupt government. He reveals his feelings toward war by describing the blood that runs down the palace walls. The palace, of course, is where royalty would have lived. Therefore, the speaker accuses the higher up people in his society of spilling the blood of the soldiers in order to keep their comfort of living in a palace. Now we come to the last stanza. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hers. So the final stanza reveals the corruption of the society, and the poet says that he can hear the youthful harlot's curse, which means that a youthful harlot suggests the level of poverty and corruption that a girl who is not even in her youth till now, but she has to indulge in prostitution because of the misery and poverty she is going through. Things become even more interesting as the speaker reveals the object of the harlot's cursing. She curses at the tears of a newborn baby, which means that it is an ultimate attack, in a way, on the innocence of a child. She curses at the tears of a newborn baby. This is the ultimate attack, and the speaker does not reveal whether the harlot is the mother of the baby or it just implies the innocence. This reveals the hardened heart of the harlot, which represents the heart of the society at large, while the innocent shed tears and the perverted attack them. So, the last line of the poem reveals the speaker's thoughts on marriage too. The harlot apparently has blighted the marriage hers. She has deranged marriage by having sold her body before ever entering into the marriage union. Although the speaker believes that the harlot has somehow damaged marriage, he also reveals his beliefs about marriage in the first place. The fact that he calls it a marriage hearse means that he views marriage as death-like experience. Overall, he is criticizing the society through the poem, the church, the prostitution, and even the marriage institution. The baby shedding tears represents that even the innocent people in the world are not happy. They are also into the clutches of the society. And the infants are not left to be innocent for so long. Therefore, the innocence is blasted, for they even are not able to enjoy their life, and they are, because the society is perverted. Thank you.